I mean, I had my own pressures, of course. I mean, the sort of attacks and the sorts of things that were being said about me, and
you did stir up great passions, or great passions were stirred up, weren't they?
yes, it's a bit of a mystery to me in a way about why. I mean, I think the thing that I found most difficult to come to terms with was that people make judgments about you based on what they see in the media. So they make a very superficial judgment, and you wonder how they can make a judgment about you as a person based on something that is extraordinary and different.
Would there have been any chance in that, in the campaign during the strike, would there have been any chance for you to try and express yourself differently? I mean, maybe all the time you had to look extremely concentrated, extremely determined.
Yes, you have to. I mean, people say to you, oh, we should have seen you on television, you know, you looked really cross, or you looked angry. But the thing is that when you're confronted with a mass of journalists and television reporters, and who are journalists, that you have to concentrate on your response, because what you're trying to get across all the time in the clearest way so that people understand is what the issue is. And when it's complex, you're trying to concentrate on not putting in any extraneous information that will detract from what you're saying. And also, I must say that it then allows the television, for instance, to edit you in such a way that something is presented in a way that you don't wish it to be.
But I wonder if it is possible to get so fixed on the enemy and the task that, in fact, you do narrow yourself. You can only show to your friends the other side, I suppose.
Oh, that's quite right. I mean, you are so fixed on what you're doing that you don't consider that your private life just totally takes a back seat. You just don't have a private life as such, and your friends do just see you as what's supposed to be a normal person, as somebody who can be quite pleasant. I mean, people have this assumption that you must be a really nasty person all the time.
I mean, why is that, do you think?
Well, I think it's this superficial judgment that if you come across on television, and I think particularly if you're a woman, for instance, I think it's more acceptable in men to be assertive. And I think there's some women journalists have bitten the dust because of this. That as soon as you've shown signs of being assertiveness, it's immediately labelled as aggression anyway. And if you consistently, over a long period of time, you're showing up like this and making statements that are quite strong, people say that, well, you know, women are supposed to be much nicer than that and softer and not supposed to be aggressive like that, and therefore you must be somebody who's really a bit beyond the pale.
And you have to learn to speak lower, don't you, because people get upset with a strident voice.
Yeah, well, I happen to have a sort of slightly lower voice anyway, so I generally didn't have to worry about it. But I think what startled me a bit about was the public response was that that people can hate you so much when they really don't know.
Can hate, yes.
They hate you, and I mean, I used to receive death threats constantly, either through telephone calls or the mail, but also that even now, I mean, that there are people around who hate me, and I'm told that, and you think, well, you're not quite sure what it is about you that they hate, and it's just interesting. I mean, it doesn't, I don't go around worrying about it, because you can't.